Hi, this is Scott with 4D Tech. Today we are in a 2019 body style Ford Edge that came equipped with Sync 3 but lacks factory navigation. Be sure to check the description below for other years this video may cover. We are going to show you today how to upgrade this vehicle to factory navigation using the Sync 3 navigation upgrade kit from 4D Tech. The kit comes pre-programmed plug and play for your vehicle. Let's get started. We'll need a few basic tools to do this install. A Phillips screwdriver, a 7mm nut driver, and some plastic dash removal tools. The tools are available on our website for your convenience. Let's get started. First, we need to disassemble the top of the center console to gain access to the radio bezel. To start, we need to remove these side trim pieces at the top edge of the center console. So we'll take one of our dash removal tools and get underneath here and unsnap it. Just working our way all the way up to the front edge. And then we'll need to do the same on the driver's side. Next, we'll need to remove this trim that includes the cup holders. You can simply get your fingers underneath it and pull up. And then pull up at the four corners. And we need to disconnect this one electrical connector here. There's a little tab on this end that's underneath this little box. And you push that tab with your fingertip and unplug the connector. Next, we need to remove these two little pieces of trim on each side of the compartment. We need to start by releasing this tab right here. We'll need to get our dash removal tool right in between the tab and the plastic. As this plastic flexes, you really need to get in between the two and twist it to get it to release. And then pry off the face there as well. And then same thing on the driver's side. Next, we need to remove this carriage in which the shifter is mounted to and the compartment to get that back to gain access to the screws for the radio bezel. We'll need to remove these three screws found here, the two on each side of the compartment up here, and then there is a screw here and here as well pointing down. You do not need to remove this side panel. You can just push it out and release it a little bit to gain access to the screw. With those screws removed, you can lift up on the carriage and slide it back. Once you slide it back and turn it, we'll need to disconnect these two connectors here from the USB media hub. We'll push the tab here and unplug that one. And then there's a little tab on the end, sort of like the switch we removed earlier. And you push that and unplug this connector as well. You do not need to disconnect these connectors if you just want to swing this out of the way. If you want to take it completely out of the vehicle, disconnecting it is fine too. It won't hurt anything. Next, we need to take out the two 7mm screws down here at the base of the radio bezel. You'll want to keep in mind the screws for the radial bezel and the rest of the screws that we'll take out are slightly different shape than the ones we took out of the carriage, so just keep them separate so you can put them back in the appropriate locations. So with the bezel here, once those screws are out, we need to get the bezel unclipped from the dash. And you'll pull up while working your way around with the dash removal tool. There's some clips up here where the vents clip in up at the top that you'll need to release. And once that is released, we need to disconnect these two connectors here. They got a tab on the top that you squeeze and unplug. And then we'll set the bezel aside. Next, we need to remove the 4 screws that are holding the display screen in the dash. With those screws out, we'll lift the display screen out, and we'll need to disconnect the connectors on the back of the display screen. This USB cable here, you squeeze the clip and disconnect that. This antenna cable here, squeeze the clip on the square side of it and unplug that. And then this main connector here, you'll push in on the little tab there in front of the lever, push the lever all the way flat and disconnect that as well. Next, what we'll need to do is remove the control module off the back of the display screen and replace it with the navigation equipped one from 4D Tech. To do this, you'll probably want to lay this on a flat, soft surface like the box that the module came in has some nice foam. You can set that down on it. For the sake of this video, so you can see what I'm doing, I'm going to take this old cloth and set it up here in the opening. You'll need to disconnect the screen cable from the module, and you push in on this little tab right here and unplug it and just swing it out of the way. You'll need to take your Phillips screwdriver and take out the 3 Phillips screws holding the module to the display screen. Once the 3 screws are out, we'll take the module, set it out of the way, and we'll get the navigation equipped one from 4D Tech and put that in its place. And we just need to put the 3 screws back in that we took out earlier. Once those 3 screws are in, you'll reconnect the screen cable by pushing it back in firmly till it clicks in. Swing this around, we'll remove our cloth, and reconnect the module the same way it was disconnected earlier. So this main connector here, you'll push it into place till the lever starts to move and use the lever to draw it the rest of the way in until the lever clicks past the lock. We'll plug back in the antenna connector here. You'll only align one way and then push it in until it clicks. And then the USB cable with the clip facing up, we'll plug that into the USB connector and we'll swing this around. And put it back into place. Next, we'll replace the 4 screws that we took out earlier. With those 4 screws replaced, next we need to put the dash bezel back on around the screen. We'll need to reconnect these connectors here with the clips facing up, plug them in and push them in until they click. You'll want to make sure the top is aligned there first for those clips to push in, and then work your way down And then next we'll replace the two 7mm screws at the base of the bezel that we took out earlier. Next we'll swing the carriage around and put it back into place. First, reconnecting the USB cable and the power cable to the hub. If it's aligned right, all the screw holes will easily line up. Next, we'll need to replace the 7 screws we took out earlier, including the 2 down the sides here. We will next need to put the 2 small pieces of trim back in place up here. You'll want to click up in the top portion first and then the bottom portion here. With those back in place, we'll replace the cup holder. Be sure to plug this connector back in that we unplugged earlier. Swing it around, drop it into place. And when you replace the screws on the side here, just make sure you push those panels firmly back in after. With that firmly in place, we just need to replace the 2 pieces of trim on each side of the console. Starting with the driver's side here, just align it and clip it back into place. And then same with the passenger side. Now that the installation is complete, we'll fire up the vehicle with the new Sync 3 navigation upgrade installed. It may take a little bit of time for the maps in the system to load the first time after we installed it. As you see, it looks exactly like the Sync 3 system before, but the home screen layout has changed to include the navigation, and we have the navigation icon there as well. Now you see how simple it is to upgrade the 19 Edge that came with Sync 3 to navigation using the upgrade kit from 4D Tech. This is Scott. Thank you for checking out our video.